That's right, baby. It's time for movie trailer trash. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, this is Movie Trailer Trash. I'm Bethany.
I'm Charlie.
And we just watched the trailer for American Made, starring Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise and Domhnall Gleeson.
Sure.
Do we know that that's how you say his name?
I don't even know which person you're talking about.
Red-bearded guy, CIA guy,
Oh.
who was dancing on the big crate of drugs.
What else has he been in?
A lot of things.
All right. Well, before we get started talking about this trailer, I just wanted to say we're a couple days late this week. We usually release our podcast on Mondays for all of our listeners.
Loyal listeners.
Loyal listeners, yeah. And Charlie has been sick. Okay, that was unnecessary and forced. He's been sick, so we postponed it. And then yesterday we actually had the privilege of watching the total solar eclipse in totality.
Total eclipse of the sun.
And yeah, we're in Kansas City. For those of you who don't already know, we live here. And so we got to watch that at the River Market. So we handed out some flyers. If you found us during the solar eclipse party.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You won this podcast in your
ears.
ears.
You just get to listen. But thank you. Please tell your friends about us. Of course, we always love to have our local listeners as well as all of our other listeners. Also, last Saturday we went to the Kansas City Third Saturday Block Party.
Whoop.
And handed out some flyers there. So if you found us from there, hello, shout out
also,
to you.
Good job. You win.
Yeah, you get to listen to us. So we just always like to thank our new listeners. So that's awesome. Please tell your friends, like us on Facebook, and let us know that you're listening.
So American Made.
Yeah, let's go to it.
This is a movie that is coming out at the end of September 29th of this year. So
Nice.
It's coming out soon.
Yeah.
It has Tom Cruise and Domhnall Gleeson. Tom Cruise is basically the main character. His wife is played by Millicent Gergich.
Yeah, Millicent Gergich from Parks and Recreation.
From Parks and Rec.
It took me about halfway through the trailer to figure it out.
And then I wasn't
where
even
is she from?
positive that she was right. I had to double check it.
I was positive though, because if you would have been thinking about it during it, you would have known.
Yeah. But so this is a movie. This is a true story. Well, kind of true. I mean, it's mostly true.
Loosely based on a true
mostly
story.
made up.
One of those.
Mostly true and mostly made up.
Sure.
And it's a guy whose name is Barry Seal, I think it was, and that's who Tom Cruise plays. And he's a former Air Force pilot who became a airline pilot who was then approached by the CIA to transport drugs for the CIA from various places.
Yes.
And he gets involved with the CIA, the DEA, Pablo Escobar, and a whole bunch of danger and drug-based
And money
action occurs. And so I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I'm excited
Does
about
it look
Tom
great?
Cruise.
I don't know, but it looks good.
I'm excited about Tom Cruise playing someone who is not supposed to be like the super like amazing good guy who everybody loves. Like he's kind of a dick.
But
you know?
he also looks like the super amazing good guy that everybody loves.
No, he's like the
He's
charismatic.
a criminal, but everybody loves him.
He's a charismatic criminal who is a jerk.
His wife's like, he's like, just trust me, and she's like, no. But
he's
then
he said, "Do you trust
clearly-
me?" He does the movie
Yeah.
line. "Do you trust me?" And she's like, "No."
But clearly, she's just like, whatever. Because
Right.
later on, she's like, hey, the dog dug up this bag of money, and there's money flying everywhere. You know, and
Right.
he's like, oh, rake it up tomorrow.
And so like he's also kind of stupid, but he's like really charismatic, and he's not just like what I'm used to seeing Tom Cruise as is like in Mission Impossible, where he's
Sure.
the ultimate at everything. Like he's
Okay.
the best at everything in the world. And
Yeah.
I think this one is going to be kind of just like he keeps getting lucky all the time because he's so charismatic.
Well, I mean, I think that's how it is. Anytime you hear about these like drug stories with Pablo Escobar, anybody who survived all of that
Right,
and was a
exactly.
part of it is a lot of luck.
Yeah, you're just the lucky person and
Um,
know the right people. So like, and I think that Domhnall Gleeson's going to be a really cool character in it, and that he's going to be funny.
because he's the one that recruits him, right?
Yeah, he's the CIA
And he asks,
agent.
Tom Cruise asks him if it's all legal, and he's like, yeah, if you're doing it for the good guys.
Yeah, yeah, he's gonna be really scummy and kind of cool.
I think that when it comes to drug cartels and those type of stories, I've never been a huge fan. Like, it's kind of like, okay, there's certain types of criminal stories. There's gangster stories, there's mobster stories, and
Heist.
there's heist, like high-end heist.
High end.
Yeah, like because that's not real. Those are just low level criminals.
Yeah, that doesn't
You don't
happen
really get
really
that,
anymore.
but they're fun movies. And then there's the drug cartel movies. So they all have a different feel, different types of gangs, basically.
Right.
And I've never really been that into it. We tried watching that TV series. What was that, a Netflix series?
Pablo Escobar, the Narcos.
Narcos. Yeah, we tried watching that, and I got I think 2 or 3 episodes in, and I was like, I just really don't want to see this.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
And it
I can see
fascinates
that.
me. It fascinates me, but I'd rather watch a documentary.
Yeah, I guess. But like, I could also see that
It's
like
depressing.
Blow. I didn't like Blow that much.
Which one is that? Have I seen it?
That's the Johnny Depp one. Remember that one?
Where he's doing all the drugs and it goes on and on forever and ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's my feeling about that.
But
I was
think
like, when is this movie
this
gonna
one,
end?
this one will be more of an action movie. I think. You know, more of like.
Yeah.
I think that this one will be very similar to, not as much of a mystery and stuff. You
Mhm.
know, but like the Nice Guys.
Okay.
Whereas it's an action comedy more than anything else.
I think a little less on the comedy though. I guess we'll
Really
see.
for this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember when we saw the trailer in theaters, I was laughing. So maybe it's just that it's funnier when it's louder. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, kind of.
But no, okay, so
You don't want anyone to know that you're enjoying Tom Cruise
no, I'm not. I don't care about that.
because he is
he can
kind
make
of
me
the
laugh.
like he's kind of the worst, and it's one of those things where like you see him on screen. It's like with Mel Gibson, where like you see him and you're just like, ugh.
You're like, ugh. And then he does an awesome job, and you're like, all right.
Although he's more brainwashed and less
Yeah.
like a hateful
Yeah.
person.
That's true.
he's insane. Is
That's
what he
true.
is.
Yeah, he got mixed up with the wrong folks.
So this movie has a really good director who has a
Oh, yeah.
really
What
good
did he
list
do?
of credits. Well, it's said on the screen. He's the same director as The Bourne Identity,
Oh my gosh.
so that's good.
That's
You got the
Born
action
Identity
down,
is one of my favorite movies.
right? He's also he also directed Edge of Tomorrow, which was that
Very good, and Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. So he knows
Emily
how to
Blunt.
direct with Tom Cruise and make a good Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah,
And
I like that movie a lot.
then on top of that, the third piece of the puzzle added into this movie, he directed Swingers, which is that Jon Favreau Vince Vaughn movie.
You're so money you don't even know it.
Exactly. And that's
Vegas,
that's a
baby.
great movie.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas, baby.
You know, that is a good movie.
Yeah.
It's one of those where because people have quoted it so much that when I actually saw it, I felt like it wasn't very original. But that's just because it's like the first.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Yeah, it was a good movie.
It's really funny and it's really unique.
I remember
and well
liking
done.
it.
And I think those 3 movies, you kind of like push a bunch of different elements from those 3 movies into this one, and you just got, it's like he's the perfect guy to do it.
Well, here's the thing. When I was watching it, the thing that it most reminded me of when I saw that trailer was, hang on,
Okay.
the movie Catch Me If You Can.
Okay.
Couldn't think of the name of it. Catch Me If You Can with, what's that, Matt Damon?
No.
No.
It
Who
is
is
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Sorry.
and
Leonardo
Tom Hanks.
DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. I knew it was Tom Hanks. I get Matt Damon and Leo mixed up
Yeah.
sometimes. Sorry, Leo. But yeah, so Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, also based on a true story about a criminal who's really good at what he does and it is evading all of the punishment for what he does,
Mhm.
right? So I mean, totally
master
different
con
type.
artist.
Yeah, totally different type of criminal. But this had a very Catch Me If You Can feel to it.
It's like if
Like him
it's like
coming
Catch
in
Me
and
If You
then
Can.
not
if,
being able to them not being able to stick him with anything and be like, all right, he's free to go.
It's like Catch Me If You Can if Leonardo DiCaprio's character in that was an idiot.
I don't see where you're getting the whole he's an idiot thing. I haven't seen that. When I saw this trailer, I didn't see that at all.
He's like dumb. He does like everything on the seat of his pants, and just like however he's feeling in that moment.
yeah, but where are you getting that from?
When he
I
lands the
didn't see
plane in
that.
the middle of the road and then takes that kid's bike and gives him money
Okay,
while he's
so
covered
there's
in
that.
cocaine.
So when he's running away, but whenever anybody's
When the
running
money
away,
is blowing around in the yard and he's just like, I'll rake it up in the morning. And when he's being really like cheeky with the police officers, he's like, I'm gonna walk
well, yeah,
out of
but
here.
that's not being an idiot. That's knowing exactly what he has behind
Well, yeah,
him.
but just announcing it to everyone is being an idiot.
No, it's being arrogant.
Being like, I'm untouchable, baby.
Uh-huh.
Woo!
And he is. That's the thing, though. He's not an idiot. He's arrogant.
And then
He's skilled at what he does, and he's very arrogant.
And then I think that I mean, like, I don't know anything about this real person, so I'm not going
yeah,
to
we're just
spoil
talking about the
anything.
trailer. We're just straight talking
I
about
think-
Tom Hanks'
Nope.
character.
Tom
His
Cruise.
character. Damn it.
David Pumpkins makes an appearance in
That
this movie.
happens to me sometimes where once I say one Tom, I get all the Toms mixed up. And since we just said Tom Hanks for Catch Me If You Can, it's fair. So forgive me, folks.
Well, it's definitely fair. I wasn't saying it was unfair.
It's fair. It was a fair mistake.
What was I saying? Something
Cruise.
about Tom Cruise doing something.
So he's arrogant. It looks action-packed.
It does look action-packed. Oh, the writer for this movie is, I have never heard of him before. He's done one other movie, and it was Dolph Lundgren was the main character, so.
What's that mean?
He's the big Russian guy from Rocky 4, I
Oh,
think.
so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
That's the point. Okay, so that's interesting. But it is based on a true story. I mean, probably very loosely based. They like to dramatize these things.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say that I bet that what happens is that this guy ends up getting greedy and starting to take money from all the different people that he's taking money from, and then every single person in the world is chasing after him at some point, and he gets arrested. That's my guess.
He basically becomes a triple agent, sounds like.
Right.
It's like, well, I'm working for the good guys, but I'm also working for the bad guys, but they don't know I'm working for the good guys. The good guys don't know I'm working for the bad guys.
I think you nailed it.
It does. It looks interesting, and it looks kind of crazy. Like, it'll be hectic. Like, oh, what's he going to do? How's he going to get himself out of this hijinks, you know? And I kind of like that. I loved when he landed the plane. They were like yelling at him that if he didn't land his plane, they'd shoot him down or something. And he was like, all right, let's land it. And he just landed it in the middle of the street and then took a kid's bike and went off. That was funny.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I think it'll be interesting. And comparing it to Catch Me If You Can, that's a good thing for me. Like, that's also one of my top probably 20 movies. I
always
real
forget to
good.
put that in my lists.
It's
And then when someone brings
so
it up,
good.
I'm just like, that's one of my favorite movies ever.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of movies like this that are based on a real story or that are like telling a long journey, someone's life over several years' time, I don't have the patience for that a lot of times. Like with Blow. It's like, I'm just like, oh my God, I get it. Year after year after year, he gets himself into other kinds of trouble and drama and life struggles, and I get bored with it real fast. But Catch Me If You Can is one of the few ones that I can watch it over and over and over again. It's so good.
I think that a good barometer for whether a movie is in my top whatever list is if it comes on TV, if I'll watch the whole thing.
Yep.
Then and there.
That's a really good barometer.
And Catch Me If You Can is definitely one of those.
Absolutely. So that's good comparison is all I'm saying.
Let's move on to where, when, and how you're going to see this movie.
Where? When? How?
Are you going to see this movie?
All right, Charlie.
Oh, I'm going to go first. All right.
What do you think?
Well, I think that I am going to end up renting this, but it's only because there's going to be a lot of movies coming out in October and November that I really want to see, and I got to save that money. And I do want to see it pretty badly, though, because I think that this movie will be just like fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a couple movies coming out right now that just look kind of fun, like American Made, Logan Lucky, which I've heard
That's
is really
coming out
good.
this weekend, right?
I think it's already out.
Oh, yeah, I think it came out this past weekend.
And I've heard that's really good and fun and stuff. And then there's going to be that Jackie Chan movie that comes out. That'll probably be fun.
Oh, yeah.
And it just looks like it'll just be an entertaining thing to watch. You don't have to think about it too much. You don't have to, try and remember all the various names.
You're going to come out of the theater. Well, if you go to the theater, you're
Right.
not because you just said you weren't. But if you go to the theater, I think you're going to come out of the theater just wanting to talk about it for an hour with whoever you went with. Just being like, oh, God, when that one thing happened. And, especially when you know it's a real story and then you want to look up to see how much of it was real. There's always that one thing where you're like, I'm going to see if that one part was real. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I think the reaction... Oh, yeah, you'll definitely look stuff up after this.
But there's always like one or two parts of the real movies where you're like, I bet that part's not real. And so
Right.
you look that one
bet
specific
that's
thing
fake.
up, So that'll be fun.
I did hear while I was reading about the movie that his wife is made up.
So he was a loner.
Yeah,
Man, movie people hate having people be single.
they do.
It's always like, gotta have a relationship. But okay, so where, when, and how will I see it? I agree with you. I get, that there's a lot coming out toward the end of the year. And also, we're behind right now.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't seen
time.
Logan Lucky. We haven't seen Ingrid Goes West.
Wind River.
Wind River, which I'm going to see that movie
Damn it.
by this time next week. Somewhere between now and then, dang it. So we have literally, that's 3 movies right there that
Right.
are, I think, all going to be great that we have to see.
We have to.
Especially because they're all original stories.
I also want to see Brigsby Bear, but I have a feeling that won't be out by
Yeah.
me.
But think about it, though. Those are all original stories. Something that Charlie and I have talked about over and over again on this podcast is just how we're sick of all the sequels and all the prequels and all of the remakes and the reboots. It's like, you know, nobody wants to do an original story anymore. And this year,
So many.
so many. And I think that's amazing. I think that, you know, tough times in the world, you know, as they breed creativity. And there's a lot of tough times right now.
A lot of tough
Just
times.
to get serious for a moment. But
Let me break it down. for you.
I don't think I'll see it in theater because of that. I do think we'll see it, and I think it'll be one of those where I'll just be like, you know, sometimes when you see something that's really good and entertaining, and then you think about the fact that most of it was real, it's just like mind-blowing. You just have to sit there like, oh my God.
I think that you're going
Wow.
to have a realization when I say this. And
Okay.
If not, I'll just look dumb. But I think this. I think that I'm going to have the exact same reaction to this movie as I did, like after I'm done watching it, as I did after I was done watching Get the Gringo.
That's a weird comparison.
Because
That's a great movie, but that's a weird comparison.
it's kind of like it's like a forgotten action movie that mostly takes place with a unlovable but charismatic main character who the
You're like
actor-
rooting for him, even though you're also kind of rooting against him. You're
Who
like,
you're just
oh,
like,
when
I
are they
don't-
going to catch him? You're like, oh, how's he going to get out of this? But really, he shouldn't. They need to
Yeah,
catch him.
I don't agree with what you're doing, but go, damn it, go.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I think, and it also has an actor who a lot of people don't like to look at, just
sure,
because of
but I
their
don't think
face
that
and who they are.
He's not really comparable to.
Well, yeah, but
you
it's a
know.
different thing. But it's a similar feeling that people get.
Yeah.
And it's a interesting kind of story that unravels and gets out of control, and there's a lot of action and stuff going on during it.
Yeah, I mean, I could go for that. I could get that. I think so. We'll probably rent it. We'll really like it. I think if you're into this type of movie and you're excited about it, then you should go see it, because not everybody who listens to our podcast is going to want to see Wind River and Ingrid Goes West. You know, those movies are a little more artistic, although I say everyone should see Wind River.
However, I will say that this is not your average big budget Tom Cruise movie.
No.
You know, if
This
you're
is
expecting
like-
Mission Impossible,
No.
you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, this is like Catch Me If You Can. This is like,
This
what
movie-
are those other ones?
This movie has an $80 million budget.
Blow.
Okay. Has an $80 million budget, which means that it probably actually has a $60 million budget, and then they also wanted to add on Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And so it's a medium-sized budget movie.
I think it'll be good.
It has really good people working on it, along with Tom Cruise as the main character, which is going to be great.
I think you're right, though, when you say it's just going to be entertaining. And it is an original story. I mean, it's based on reality, but just the fact that they're telling a new story. It's not a remake. They could have just done a new story about Pablo Escobar, but instead they chose a different angle.
There's
you
so
know?
much Pablo Escobar stuff.
Yeah.
So much.
But yeah, so I mean, I think it'll be really entertaining.
I do too. Let's move on to guess those Rotten Tomato percentages. Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
Okay, so Rotten Tomatoes. This is a toughie.
Ooh, a toughie.
It's a toughie for me, but I say that every time because I'm not great at guessing these. Just
Okay.
got to be real with you. I think it's going to do well with critics, but because there are a lot of great movies like this that are well made, that talk about criminals and stuff based on real stories, I don't think it'll do as well as maybe it deserves. I'm going to give it an 84%. That sounds high, I realize, but it is based on a real story. It is Tom Cruise. It is a great director.
That's really high.
So I feel like that's fair.
See, because I
I was
think
going to give it something in the 70s, but I changed my mind last second.
I think it's going to be better than you think it's going to be, and I think it's still only going to get like an 80.
Well, I mean, that's still high. That's still a good score. I think the audience are going to love it. It's going to get an 88.
Wow, look at you.
They're just going to come out of there and be like, that was awesome. And everyone's going to come out of the theater and be like, telling all of their friends, you guys got to see this movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to say critics 80, audience 85. So similar scales.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a good type of movie to have in the pool of movies that are coming out right now. I think it's like a really good buffer between big giant superhero movie, little tiny Ingrid Goes West kind of weird creepy comedy, Wind River like really dramatic depressing like,
But
crime
awesome.
story, and then you have this one and Logan Lucky and these movies that are just like fun palate cleanser type
Well, and that's
movies.
something that you and I have talked about a lot in the past on our podcast as well, is that it's like people are afraid to just have something fun anymore. It's like I love like late 80s, early 90s action movies were so much fun. They might have had ridiculous, unrealistic action, but they were fun and they were funny and awesome. And it's been a long time, I feel, other than superhero movies, we don't get a lot of fun action movies.
Faction.
So I think this will be one of them, and I think Logan Lucky's going to be awesome. Yeah, I think that we're coming to a time where people are just like, we've got to have fun, guys. We've got to have some fun. We can't just have all of our movies be Spotlight. And, oh, God, the year that Spotlight came out, I don't remember everything else that came out. I just remember that it was such a heavy year for movies. I was like, oh, my God.
Well, The Revenant was out during then
I'm like,
also.
all these movies are so intense. And Spotlight was amazing, but it was like Trumbo, Spotlight. Oh, God, what else was it? There were so many. But like you said, The Revenant.
Which is like... oof.
Just heavy movies, the type of movie that you got to take some time and maybe get yourself some ice cream after to cheer yourself up. Yeah.
With sprinkles, so
Yeah.
that it's especially happy ice cream.
If you're into that kind of thing.
You don't like sprinkles?
I don't get the point.
Oh.
Really? What's the point?
I think it's a color thing.
Yeah, it's pretty, but the texture is fine. But if I'm going to do that, why not just sprinkle nerds on there? Nerds are like
no.
sprinkles that are delicious.
No, that's a little intense.
They're bright, they're colorful, and they're delicious. And actually, I think nerds are one of the best candies to go with ice cream, especially vanilla ice cream.
It's like putting lemons on your ice cream.
What? Nerds aren't sour.
Yeah, they are.
Not that sour. That's the thing, though. The vanilla of the ice cream and the sweetness of the ice cream complements the sour, and it kind of tames it a little bit. So for those of you who haven't tried it, I'd say go full on. Go to, Dairy Queen, get you a Nerd Blizzard if they still do those. I don't think they do. Go to Culver's. They'll do it for sure.
Don't go to Sonic and get the nerd slushy.
Unless you're into that kind
It'll
of thing.
make your
like
teeth
me.
fall out of your head immediately.
Here's the thing, though. If anybody ever put Nerds on their chocolate ice cream, I would probably not want to associate with that person because that sounds gross.
That's a little extreme.
That sounds gross. You don't mix chocolate with sour. Who do you think you are? All right, off topic, but anyway.
American Made. It comes
American
out
Made.
September 29th. Depending on what people say about it to us, we might still see it.
Yeah.
But it's also possible that we forget about it for like a year and
Here's the
then see
thing.
it at some point
For
later.
those of you who are new to this, Charlie and I often say we're not going to see a movie in theater, and then we will, or vice versa. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
depends. Because, I mean, right
Well-
now we think we know what we want. But, yeah, if it gets, like, crazy good reviews and we just ended up having nothing to do one week, and we might go see it.
Right.
We saw Split in theater,
Mm-hmm.
and we were saying we were going to wait till it was on movie, but then everybody was talking about it, and everybody was saying there's a twist at the end. I was like, I'm not about to have that twist spoiled for me.
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
So, and I'm glad I did.
Me too.
I feel good about that decision. But yeah, so I mean, Charlie and I love movies. So, if sometimes we'll get a deal from Alamo Draft House
FX has the movies.
because we're part of their club, their special VIP. What's it called?
Victory.
The Victory Club. So, sometimes we just go see movies randomly.
Prosec was
It's good
making fun of
times.
us because of the fact that we mentioned Alamo Draft House in basically every single episode that we do.
Alamo Draft House, not a sponsor yet,
Not yet.
but we live within walking distance and we love them. So if you have one, if you're one of the lucky few states that has an Alamo Draft House, go there, man. Go there.
All right.
Yeah, you want to do a couple of plugs for us?
I will try. You can go to mttpodcast.com and you can look at all of our episodes, all of our blogs, all of our news articles. You can go to Twitter and follow us at MTT Podcast. You can go to Facebook, go to search Movie Trailer Trash Podcast and look at all the Facebook stuff. You can go to iTunes and rate and review and subscribe to us there.
Yeah, please.
You can go to Patreon and support us on Patreon to get a few extra episodes per month of just, random things, but more importantly,
Movie things.
to support the show and to support us, because this is a free podcast, free service that we give to you, the peoples.
Yep.
And as always,
We do it for you.
also follow Entertainment Buffet at Entertain Buffet and subscribe to their YouTube channel.
Yep. That's where they post our podcast. You might even be listening to us there.
And subscribe to their podcast, the Entertainment Buffet podcast. It's a good one as well.
Yeah. So, thanks for joining us. We love our listeners. Please tell your friends, tell your family, share on Facebook, share on Twitter. Pass it along.
This movie is on cruise control.
Wow.